Hello, everyone. I have a question for you. What if everything you've been told about aging is wrong? What if pain, stiffness, and feeling weaker weren't just a part of getting older, but actually something you could reverse? Our guest today has spent decades proving exactly that. I'm Julie-Ann Meyer, and you're watching Seizing Your Greatness. We are here to dive deep with visionaries, change makers, and experts who are redefining what's possible. And today we're talking about something that affects everyone: how to stay strong, mobile, and pain-free as we age. Our guest, 𝗨𝗨 is the founder of The Fitness Doctor, the world's #1 therapeutic and anti-aging fitness company. He's been called the human MRI because of his almost uncanny ability to pinpoint and fix body mechanics issues. With over 27 years in kinesiology and research on more than 1 million subjects, he's helped thousands of people over 50 regain their strength, move better, and feel younger. If you think getting older means slowing down, he's here to change. Let's welcome 𝗨𝗨. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. It's seriously an honor to be here, and I love your opening because that's exactly what it's all about.
Oh, I'm so happy because you never know for sure, but I did a little research on you because I've been talking with your team for a while now, and I was so impressed with who you are and how you do things. And I have to say, you have a unique skill set. You're not a personal trainer. I am a personal trainer. You are not. You're so much more than that. You get down to the basics and really help people genuinely change the quality of their life. And I'm just curious, off the top, what are some counterintuitive things or approaches that you use that maybe people would think, oh, I could never do that, or I would never, ever try?
Things that we use that they would never try?
Exactly. Or just because maybe they don't know, or because they think, oh, that's never going to work, or what's the point? That sort of thing.
Good question. Most people seriously mess their body up with exercise, and they produce a lot of negative results. You do not need to be a genius to become more fit. You basically need to go out and move, lift some weights, do some aerobic activity, do some stretching. Most people know the basics enough to get some results, but what most people do, especially as they approach age 50 and over, is they cause damage to their body in exercise. So what most people would do is cause damage unknowingly. Of course, nobody wants to do that, but they do. And they cause actually dysfunction in both mind and body while exercising, and they get about 10%, 20% of the results that they could if they knew the things that we're going to talk about today.
Oh, wow. I love that so much. And I've always talked about how people think, oh, well, this worked for Susie down the street, so I'm going to do it. And that's not always the best option. So why don't I just let you take the stage for a minute and share a little bit about your knowledge and how you help people?
That's a great point. Yeah, Susie's not you, and you're not, Susie's not you, and you're not Susie. So, that's like one of the, it's really interesting. We're going to stay on topic and focus on what I know your audience is going to be most interested in. But growing up in the fitness circles, one of the big goals I had, which most ladies don't have so much, is I wanted to get bigger and stronger when I was in my 20s. And this was a huge goal for me. And so many times people in the gym would go, and like the big guy, that's the strongest guy, they would go and ask him, hey, what did you do to build your triceps and build your chest? And I always thought, as a very high level expert in physiology and biomechanics, even in my 20s, I thought, why would you ask him? He got there genetically primarily. Doesn't mean the guy didn't work hard. Doesn't mean he hadn't been doing it for years or eating well, but he got there genetically. And so what I would look for is like, hey, who was really skinny that gained a lot of muscle and became very, very functionally, and lots of muscle and lots of strength, right? And that's the person that I would want to learn from. So if we take that same understanding and we switch it to what I call anti-aging fitness, what happens is some people can get away with putting excess stress on their body with exercise much more than others. So here's what happens. I would say this is professionals included. It's definitely some therapists and an extreme majority of trainers and almost all people that, and I mean this term in a very loving way, but layman people. And that means that they're not experts. They're not elite experts in the subject, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like 98% of them are getting these kind of results. And they're creating dysfunction in mind and body. And the reason why that happens is because they're focused usually on performance. How much weight can I lift? How many reps? Things that have to do with gaining more performance aspects.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually, interestingly, what should come last. Because here's what actually happens. Here's how the body actually works. Is when you go to exercise, you have both mind and body.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to really address both. On the body side, most people have misalignments. So that means that their posture, for example, isn't ideal, or their pelvis or one hip doesn't function quite the way it should. Or this is really common, especially for the ladies. Your toes should actually splay like this.
Oh, wow.
Your toes should actually have a space. Now, that is very uncommon to see that these days because especially ladies, men too, of course, but they wear shoes with narrow toe boxes that smash the toes together. And when you change the formation of the toes, you get bunions and all kinds of other deformities. But also, it's not just in the feet. You start to negatively affect the mechanics going up the body, up the chain to the hips, to the back, to the pelvis. And so all throughout your body, you have specific mechanical needs that most people do not address during exercise. Mm-hmm. And that's just the physicality, what I call in simple terms, I call it alignment. Like, is your body aligned? Are you exercising with the like ideal alignment? And then on the mind side, we all have some trauma from our childhood, from past relationships, from not having the best thoughts about ourselves, whatever it might be. Or maybe even had back pain or hip pain or whatever pain it is, and you show up with your exercise with those thoughts. And what happens is you deeply root the emotion and the energy of those thoughts into your body. Yes, exercise is stress relieving. Yes, it gets better, but you're also training mind connection with body to ingrain those thoughts and emotions that you're having when exercising into your neurobiomechanical functionality. In other words, into your neurological system, into your body mechanics. And for simple terms, the issues are held in the tissues, right? So then the question becomes, well, how do we overcome all this stuff? And what should we do to like not have all these negative symptoms? And so, for example, like 50% of people over the age 50 actually tear their rotator cuff at some point with exercise. And they've done a lot of research on this. So with trainer supervised, the high intensity workout training that everybody thinks is like amazing, 4-minute HIIT workouts and all this stuff. Well, guess what the injury rates are when we look at that in research? 73%. 73% of people who do like really high intensity exercise or think they're going to like hit exercise with that stuff get injured. And if we look at like all exercises over the age of 50, there's into the 90th percentile of how many people get injured during exercise. So here's what you should do. I really recommend strongly, this is part of our unique sauce, and we have very specific systems on how to address each one of these things. But I suggest people exercise with 3 different filters in mind. Mm-hmm. They're not steps, they're filters, because filters are, you filter things out. It's like filtering out the impurities, or in this case, the dysfunction before you go into the next filter. So as long as you understand that, here's what I recommend for everybody in exercise. If you want to feel amazing and age backwards because of your exercise, instead of adding age and dysfunction, filter 1 is mind optimization, or what I call introceptive optimization. This is becoming aware that you're not just a physical being when you do exercise. You're an energetic and emotional being as well. And you have a very unique opportunity when you do exercise to process out trauma, to process out negative emotions through what's called your somatosensory system, which basically means the emotional and mechanical connection points of your body. you have the ability to process those things out and really basically do a therapy session on yourself. So most people, when they exercise, my back hurts, or I'm not as fit as I want, or my tummy bulge or whatever, or my triceps are flabby. They have some negative emotions. Well, what you should do is you should be training your mind for how you want to feel. And I have one really simple strategy that we use. We use multiple strategies, but here's a really simple one for everyone to start right away. And that is, exhale the negative stuff that you know is going through your mind and thoughts and emotions. Exhale that when you're exercising, and breathe in the replacement of what you would love to feel and think about self. And so you're exhaling what you don't want to have, and you're just replacing with the opposite of that, of what would be amazing. Okay. And if you do this, you literally are reframing your mind, and you're doing it with physicality, which means it's like doing a physical meditation to retrain your mind. And also part of this filter one is feeling good in your body. Train and sense and feel and connect with yourself and have a very deep internal connection to what's happening mechanically, which brings you into filter two. In filter two, you're going to be focusing on your body alignment and your mechanics. In other words, like how your feet are functioning, your position of your knees and your pelvis and your posture and all of your body alignment, which, by the way, I'm going to provide your people a 5-session free course that I go through toe to head, and I show you in detail, well, what is body alignment? How do you apply all this stuff? So I'm going to provide that to you, and you can provide the link to your people.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. And so filter two is all about body alignment and optimizing your physical mechanics. So you have the right mind and energy connection. Then you have the right mechanical alignment and functionality. Now, guess what? Here's what the research says on the fitness results before we even get to filter three. Which 20, if you change nothing, change no different sets, no different weight, no different reps, there's nothing you change other than really owning this process of which I just shared and having a deep internal attention. By research, you will get 20 to 60% more fitness results by taking a much more intelligent neuromechanical or mind-body approach than what most people are taking. 20 to 60% more results without adding any more difficulty to your workouts. And filter three, of course, is very important, and that is performance. So once you've really optimized your mind and optimized your mechanics, now you can look at sets and reps and what is your actual performance. That's where most people are starting, and they have dysfunction in the mind, and they're adding performance of more weight and load and stress to mind, stress to body, more stress to life, which creates a degenerative effect and a more inflammatory effect. Yes. And that's one of the huge reasons why they're getting so much negative results in addition to the positive effects that most people get. So then in performance, you're maintaining the filter one and filter two thought and application process while you're improving your functionality with weight and with reps. There's one more thing I should share that's really important, and that is the reason why most people and most trainers, experts, want to increase and focus on one really specific thing, and that's weight. What do most people think with fitness? Either more weight or more reps. And it makes sense because if you are going to lift like a 5-pound dumbbell, for example, versus a 20-pound dumbbell for you ladies, what's the difference? Do you recruit? I mean, you see my whole bicep ball up, right? So you would think all the muscle fibers are working. When you do light or heavier, you're just working harder. Well, the reality is actually you're recruiting or you're turning on more muscle fibers when you lift a heavier weight. So this is the reason why experts and fitness experts lift. Yeah, you have to really increase your weights. And everybody thinks this. It's true because muscles recruit on an all or nothing principle. In other words, they're either needed and they turn on, or they're not needed and they don't turn on. Well, guess what? We get to remove the excess mechanical stress. In other words, all this load and pressure placed on your body that might be unnecessary or drive dysfunction in your performance.
Mhm.
Instead, by having deep internal attention, you're having much more neurological drive. And because of the additional neurological drive, you're getting more muscle fiber excitation and turning more muscle fibers on. Your body is much more active because of all this neurological focus and attention. And you're getting more muscle recruitment very similarly as you do with heavier weight, but just in a much more functional way. So once you start to actually increase weight, what happens is as you're improving performance, you get a therapeutic result. And that is the secret sauce that I didn't read any book, but I literally figured out over 30 years of lots of research and study and 1 million case study analysis that we did over a 5-year research period to kind of figure all this stuff out.
That is truly remarkable. I am absolutely impressed by your knowledge. And you talk about the things that I absolutely love, mind and body. It's not one or the other. They're all sitting the same pie. So we might as well treat it all. And I like this idea of exercising with intention and attention to everything versus just like going through the motions and, I got to get rid of my stomach, or I got to get rid of, the bad arms or whatever they're calling, these things that we, as women, because that's obviously what I am, we tend to talk down to ourselves and about ourselves. And it's not really doing us any good. First of all, we are in this life and we don't get that much time in this meat suit. So as far as I'm concerned, why not love it? It gets us around. And what grows more, something that is loved or something that isn't? What does better, something that's loved or something that's hated? I mean, it's kind of like, so I love the fact that you're talking about, how important, and have the science to back it up too. So it's not just woo-woo stuff, right, but it's actually, there's science to prove what you're talking about. Now, I know that you do a lot of different things, but I also know that you have this event that's coming up in, I think it's like 2 weeks. And so in February, and well, we are in February, but I would love for you to tell the audience a little bit about that, because it's online. So anybody around the world can join you. What are you focusing on?
Yeah, so we have the event coming up in February, but if you see this after the fact, you can register yourself in to attend our next event. And what this event is, we call it the Full Body Fix, and it's exactly what it sounds like. And all you need to do is go online and look at Full Body Fix, and you'll see, the link will be provided to you. And so you can see all the reviews in Google and what people have experienced there. And basically, you're receiving a full body fix. So what I do is I talk about the mind, energy, and motion components, but I heavily get into all the detailed mechanics, because this alignment thing, which I use one word to really talk about it, has many, many details. Well, in session 1, I go through feet and ankles. And you would be shocked on how important feet and ankles are for everything. Even if you feel like you don't really have feet and ankle dysfunction or issues, you're going to learn things about your physical functionality in feet and ankle that you didn't even know was possible. Then what we do in session 2 is knees and hips. Session 3 is pelvis, low back, upper back. Session 4 is shoulders and neck. And session 5 is a breakthrough strategy session where we tie it all together. And really, the really interesting thing is I'm helping you to see how your body's functioning currently. I'm showing you what the ideal functionality is of the body, and I'm showing you specifically on how to make that transition towards the ideal functionality. So whether you're a recreational exerciser, whether you're a runner, whether you're a yogi, whether you're a couch potato and you're looking to improve functionality and you don't want to be faced with all this discomfort stuff that everyone else is with exercise, it helps everyone, regardless of fitness level, to improve by really doing these things in the most intelligent way.
Well, it makes sense. It's kind of like you don't build a house on a poor foundation unless you want it to crumble. I mean, what's the point? You have the most beautiful house in the world, but if it's going to crumble, then And then the fact that just doing these things, doing the details that will actually put your body into alignment. So almost like you can receive the results. I love the way you speak about this. It's completely the way I think fitness should be approached. I don't care how old you are. I think fitness should be approached in this way because there's so many people, and I'm embarrassed to say this in front of you, but I was a personal trainer for many years. And I'm telling you right now, like I look back on that and I think, I wonder how many people I actually hurt versus helped in the long run. So it's embarrassing to think about, but I love that you have created this entire program to help people. And I just want to point this out to those that are watching. You understand what he's saying, don't you? So it's not going to be something where all of a sudden I'm like, what? So we're running a little low on time. We only have about 4 minutes left. But I'm curious, what is one of the biggest wonderful accomplishments that you've seen or helped somebody achieve? I mean, it could be even something that would be really simple, but it was really life-changing for them.
I would save people's life all the time. A lot of people that we help, they're getting into their 60s, 70s, and even 80s, and they're feeling like they're losing functionality. They're about to start becoming dependent on others, or they don't realize some of the patterns and trends that are happening in their body. Like, think about what's happening in your body right now as you watch this. And think about your current physical functionality. Think about, okay, if that keeps going another 5 or 10 years into dysfunction, and then depending on your age, maybe we push another 15, like what starts to happen is you start to lose your life because your body mechanics are the absolute foundational necessity to live a functional life. Because you need to have movement and motion and functionality to get the physiological stimulus for your body to be told that, like, hey, there's a reason to then be functional and be able to move. When you stop that stimulus, you stop having that capability. And as you start to lose your body mechanics as you age, you end up in a situation where you don't really have a choice but to really back off and decrease movement, decrease weight, decrease all these things. And the way we approach fitness, we restore your functionality. So regardless of your fitness perspective, your fitness spectrum of where you're at, we're either going to be fixing you so you don't ever end up in these situations, or we're literally saving your life. And if you like go on Google and do a search for the fitness doctor, you're going to see the reviews and you're going to see our actual VIPs, people that are actually members of ours, writing, the fitness doctor saved my life. And they really mean that. So that's probably the biggest results that we see.
I love that. And I don't think that, I think you're even kind of understating it a little bit, because yes, you're saving lives, but even just like quality of life. Oh my goodness. Quality of life is so important. I just wanted to mention that. Exactly. I just wanted to mention, though, I put up your handle for social media. It's at @tfitnessdoctor. So go ahead and look there too. I was actually watching one of your YouTube videos earlier today. It was about the waist. And yeah, I thought that was really fascinating. And I also wanted to mention to the audience that I'm going to be at this event, this online event that he has coming up soon. And just because I just decided from this conversation, so I hope you guys do too, because it's definitely worth the time and the energy. And just imagine how much better things could be for you. We have about 1.5 minutes left. Robbie, I would love for you to just share anything that maybe you would love for the audience to know, or maybe even just something that nobody knows about you.
I would just encourage everyone that regardless of where you're at, you're with it. You're an absolutely amazing human. You're walking around with $1 trillion piece of equipment called the human body, and you can absolutely achieve anything that you want and live the level of quality of life that you choose to have, as long as you understand that starts with mind and your energy and your emotions. And if you get those things on track, everything happens twice in life. First in your mind, second in your actions, and therefore your results. And when you have the right plan, you will achieve things that you didn't even know were possible. So I think it's mostly about loving yourself and knowing that when it comes to fitness, it should actually be comfortable. It does not need to be uncomfortable. And I'm going to say it again. Exercise can be totally comfortable and get amazing results if you have the right plan.
Oh, see, that's the golden nugget right there, everyone. Robbie, thank you so much for being on the show today. And for those of you who are interested in the event coming up, here's the link down below in the QR code. And also, as Robbie mentioned, don't be afraid to check in. You can get on the list next time. We've popped up his website a few times. You can also find it in our show notes. But Robbie, that is all the time that we have for today. I did want to say thank you so much for being here. And thank you to the audience. And we'll see you again next Thursday.